Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, words to my brethren all around the world watching this video. Hope you're having a great day today as you're tuning in. Do yourself a damn favor and hit that subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed. Now, in life, there's a saying that many of you may have heard, and it goes a little something like this. It says that they always say, particularly in urban communities and urban areas like where I grew up, real recognize real, okay? Real recognize real. This statement means that if you are someone who is real, authentic to how they are and how they live and what they say, that you will thus in turn recognize someone who is equally as real as yourself, okay? That's what it means, right? So in the case of heavyweight boxing, we have an interesting scenario right now. We have one guy at one belt, we have one guy with three belts, and we have one guy with the lineal belt. Okay? Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, right? But forget what I'm saying, okay? Forget what boxing fans are saying for a second. Let's go to the legends themselves, okay? George Foreman, the man George Foreman. He was pretty good, right? He was a pretty good heavyweight champion, you know, only arguably the most devastating knockout artist in heavyweight history, one could argue. A couple days ago, I just saw this now because I was on Twitter. I was just patrolling. I was going through Twitter, and I saw that Tyson Fury had retweeted this. So George Foreman tweeted this, and this was to and about Tyson Fury. It was basically a newspaper clipping from the Wilder Fury fight. It says Fury robbed, and then it has Foreman's quote. It says Tyson Fury is the people's choice, just like Muhammad Ali was. Then his tweet reads this, says, I quote, "Now and then we need someone to pull for. Frazier Ali points didn't matter. Ali was a people's choice. Fury is the same way, is some way today." Basically, he's just saying like Tyson Fury, he relates him to Ali like that, right? And it's funny because, you know, boxing and life in general history has a way of repeating itself. It was like, you know, Ali wasn't boxing 3 years because he lost his boxers. He couldn't get his boxer's license. He didn't go to the war, so he lost 3 years of his prime. But then he comes back, has a great first fight with Joe Frazier, loses on points. Then they have Thriller Manila, all those great fights, and he wins the next two. And he goes on to carve out one of the greatest careers in boxing history, and he's revered all around the world. And obviously, Tyson Fury isn't quite Muhammad Ali in terms of the worldwide appeal he has, because who really is. But we see it playing out here because a lot of people, you know, there's an extra man in the division because, you know, we're in a different era now. It's the alphabet era where there's so many sanctioning bodies, all these trinkets. Okay, so it causes a lot of confusion as to who really is a champion. But Tyson Fury is the lineal champion. Okay, the lineal champion. That means he's the man who beat the man. He is the man. The lineal title connects all the way back to John L. Sullivan. You can trace all the way back to John L. Sullivan. Obviously, yes, there's been breaks in the lineal title. It's not an exact science to trace back, but he is the lineal champion. That much is certain because Wilder and Joshua were number one and were number two when Fury wasn't boxing. They never fought, which means that when Fury comes back, he is the lineal champion. So now that I had that cleared away, I found it amazing. You know, George Foreman, sees Tyson Fury in that kind of regard. He sees him in that kind of regard. And that should tell you something special about what's going on in his career right now. You know, what he's doing to battle what he's battled, to have the fight against Wilder that he had. It's really left a great impression on a lot of people. A lot of people know he won the fight. I think he's going to show himself to be even better in the rematch. I look forward to it happening. That's why, you know, while I do want to see Wilder Joshua because it is for undisputed, I'm not even gonna knock a rematch because the first fight was so good. And quite honestly, I don't really think. This is my belief in my heart of hearts. I don't really believe that Eddie Hearn wants to make Fury or Joshua versus Wilder or Joshua versus Fury until, particularly if Wilder winds up winning, he's gonna want Joshua to have made his American debut. I'm starting to believe that because he's been alluding to it a lot recently. He did it on Sky Sports, and AJ really seems to want to fight in America. It's really the next best move for him to continue to raise his profile as a fighter and maximize his business, which I think is going to happen because he can't really go much further in the UK. So Wilder and Fury will do a rematch. That much I do believe. I think Fury will win it. Hopefully, I hope he wins it. But George Foreman, like you got to really think about that for a second. George Foreman, a man that really, I wouldn't say he has any emotional connection to any one of the three fighters. If anything, he should be having a connection to Deontay Wilder more than anybody because Deontay Wilder and him are kind of similar in a way because Foreman boxed for a couple years, won a medal in the Olympics. Same thing with Wilder, won a medal in the Olympics, and they both were just freak of nature punchers. Okay, freaks of nature. And yeah, they really seem to have Fury and George Foreman. They really have seemed to kind of taken a liking to each other because Tyson Fury responded to George Foreman's speech by saying, he quoted back, he said, "Thank you for the recent kind words with such a great comeback of your own, which helped inspire me. Thank you." And then George Foreman says, "Embrace all the love the world has for you. It'll put you up many times more in life in the years to come. Love you, my G." So they're really, real recognized real. One of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time, showing love to a man that I believe, and quite frankly, I've always believed he's the best heavyweight in the world in this era. It was just a matter of him getting focused. And honestly, I think the mental health problems, the drugs, the UCAD hearing thing, Wilder saying he was done, Joshua telling him to get fit, you fat fuck. Like, those are all things Fury needed to go through to get focused. Some of us need that extra motivation to get focused. And I think he's found it. I think he's found he struck up a great partnership with Ben Davison. And whether you like it, I like it, or anybody else likes it, he is the lineal champion. He is the man to beat. He is the man that beat the man. And until someone beats him, they're not really the man. Straight up. Joshua ain't the man. Joshua could have all 5 trinkets. He could have 6 trinkets, 5 trinkets. He's not the man. He's not the man who beats the man until he fights Fury and beats him. And same thing with Wilder. He's not the man who beat the man until he actually beats Fury. You can sit here, you can make Instagram videos about how referee did this and the referee did that, and you overshot your punches and you got tired and yada yada yada, but you didn't beat him. You didn't beat him. It's like me, for example, right? I went on for a very long time about how I thought Kovalev beat Ward in the first fight. I still think Kovalev beat Ward in the first fight, but guess what? He lost fucking Ward, and then the rematch came. He lost that fight too. So you can't cry over spilt milk. He is the man beat the man, and it's good to see that people like George Foreman, people of his stature, because forget me for a second, people of his stature who are like just the creme de la creme as far as names are concerned in boxing, can recognize the greatness of a comeback like this. And who better to recognize the greatness of a comeback like this than George Foreman? Because in many ways, Tyson Fury his comeback in many ways has even been more impressive than what Foreman did. Because, and this is not to knock George Foreman, but when you look at how they went about their comebacks, like George Foreman had like 10, 15 plus fights before he fought Michael Moore for the title. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So he had ample amount of time to prepare. Obviously, he was a lot older, so he needed that time. But still, to do what Fury has done, very, very seldom in boxing history. Very, very seldom in boxing history. To be, to have what? You fought a blown-up cruiserweight, unranked cruiserweight, your first fight back. You fought another guy who really wasn't ranked that high in Pianetta. Really 2 fights against tomato cans, and then you say, okay, I've had my tune-ups. Let's go straight into a big fight with the most devastating one-punch knockout artist in all of boxing. And then you go to his backyard, you outbox him. Unfortunately, you don't get the decision because of the knockdowns and some bad judging, but still, to do what he did, special stuff. And I think Foreman really recognizes that because he knows the long road he had back and what he had to go through. And to be quite honest, to be fair, this is not a knock on Michael Moore, because Michael Moore was a great fighter in his day, a fantastic fighter, I might add, in his day. But Michael Moore wasn't the puncher Deontay Wilder was. You see what I'm saying? He presented problems for Foreman, but there were different kinds of problems, okay, than what Fury had to deal with. He was a small heavyweight who kind of went up in weight and was a good fighter in his day, a really good fighter in his day. But he was the most devastating one-punch knockout artist in the whole sport, in the whole division. So, special in Fury. Foreman recognizes it. Don't want to keep rambling on, but that's the news. George Foreman letting Tyson Fury know that he's that guy. So big praise from George Foreman. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Real recognizes real, as George Foreman tells Tyson. Compare Tyson Fury to the great Muhammad Ali. I think that's very, very high praise. I'm not saying I agree with it fully, but that's what he said. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single video, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just Kid from Dean. So until next time, take care, guys.